Welcome into this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Again, I'm your host, Adam Haley. We got a fun show on tap this afternoon or this evening. We have Stephen Linzmeier, our strength and conditioning coach, the director of strength and conditioning for Lincoln Memorial University Athletics, will be on the show tonight, as well as Jeremy Donahue, head cross country coach, to talk about the South Atlantic Conference Championships that happened last weekend in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, before we go any farther, let's tell you about some results and some things that has happened within the past week. For women's volleyball, this past Tuesday, they defeated Mars Hill on the road 3-0, hitting a season-high 384 in that contest. That was after going 1-1 on the weekend. They have a big weekend coming up that we'll tell you about a little bit later on. Women's soccer on Tuesday, they followed Carson Newman on the road in Jefferson City 1-0. They will have one more game coming up in this next couple of weeks, or next couple of days, I should say, to conclude their season. They will not make the postseason this year. Men's soccer was also over in Jefferson City. They won that contest 1-0 with the win. They're now in a fourth place tie with Catawba going into the final game of the regular season. We'll talk about tiebreaker situations a little bit later on. They're also coming out now ranked 8th in the Southeast region, which is huge, as Coach L and the men's soccer team try to make the national tournament for the first time since 2007. But we've got a lot more going on with today's show. Again, our guest is Stephen Linzmeier and Jeremy Donahue, and we'll talk to them right after this here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
Pinnacle Performance Physical Therapy wants you to know you have a choice where to receive physical and occupational therapy. We take an individualized approach to treating people of all ages. Our therapist's goal is to assist all patients by reaching their pinnacle performance in school, work, and play. We have state-of-the-art equipment such as our Alter-G anti-gravity treadmill, used to rehabilitate injuries and pain throughout the body's lower extremities. Contact us for an appointment at 423-869-9923. Pinnacle Performance Physical Therapy, 362 Catalpa Avenue, Harrogate.
Whether institutional case good or architectural woodwork, Nolan Products Incorporated of Knoxville has been serving East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Southeast Kentucky since 1958. From concept to finish, Nolan Products custom builds to the highest quality standards to meet your facility specifications while using only the finest materials available. Nolan Products has been serving and meeting the needs and requirements of general contractors and architects in East Tennessee and surrounding area for more than 55 years. Nolan Products Incorporated, 912 4th Science Street Northeast, Knoxville.
Are you looking for efficient, compassionate, and comprehensive health care for you and your family? If you are, visit Lincoln Memorial University Medical Clinics in Harrogate and New Tazewell. All healthcare providers are faculty members of LMU's DeVos College of Osteopathic Medicine and are board certified in their specialty. Multiple specialties available are family medicine, pediatrics, internal medicine, OBGYN, geriatrics, and osteopathic manipulative medicine. Locations in Harrogate and New Tazewell. Most insurance plans are accepted. The University Medical Clinic is here to serve you. Call 423-869-7190 for an appointment.
It's the Old Town Grill.
The Old Town Grill is a special place where you bring more than family, more than friends. Bring a hearty appetite, because at the Old Town Grill, you'll never walk away hungry. A delicious change from the ordinary. The perfect place to bring the entire family. The best food and plenty of it. Join the fun and treat your appetite to something special.
It's the OTG.
The OTG is the place to be.
Welcome back into the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Joined alongside now by the strength and conditioning coach here for Lincoln Memorial University, Stephen Linzmeier. First off, welcome to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. I think it's the first time we've ever had you on.
This is.
We're going to talk about what strength and conditioning is for individual teams, for individual players, but we're in the weight room.
Yes.
We're down here. I remember as a student having some classes in this particular weight room. Now, I don't think they do that anymore, it's mostly for athletics, but this place looks a lot different than it has been.
Oh, yeah. That was the first change up. When I came in, there was machines up into about here, up to about the doorway, some dumbbells, a couple racks. So it was one of those where it kind of cleaned out the machines, made it more built for athletes. Athletes are always on their feet, so we made sure that we got enough racks to handle the teams that we had, the volume of athletes that we had coming through.
Now, again, you look around, you're talking about taking machines and everything else. This is a nice, clean look. How long did it take you to kind of get this cleared out to what you were looking for?
It's been, I've been here now two and a half years, so pretty much we just finished up this beginning right before school year started to the point where I'm feeling very comfortable where it's at. Still got small improvements here and there, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy where we're at.
What was the mindset when you took the job here and seeing the weight room to get it to this point? I mean, were you looking at different examples from different universities, or did you already have a mindset going forward?
It was one of those where I kind of came in, saw the ultimate goal of it, but I do make a lot of visits in the summertime to different universities, kind of see what works, what doesn't work, what equipment does. And I actually worked with Hammer Strength, Sornex. I worked with a couple different companies, got a good layout of what it could look like, and then went off that layout and got it pretty close to where we're at right now.
A lot of people, when they hear strength and conditioning coach, they think maybe Division I football. You got to get them hit harder, run faster, throw harder, and all that.
Yeah.
At the Division II level, strength and conditioning, you deal with every team, and for different teams, it's a little different. Talk about just your job as a general before we talk about individuals.
So, job in general is working with every team, trying to figure out of season, trying to get in a little bit more, build up strength. From there, then in season, you cut back on the amount of times they're in the weight room, but still making sure they're putting the best product out. Our mission statement here is to put out the best athlete, make you the best athlete in 4 years. So for the field. So it's one of those where you come in as a freshman, work on technique. From there, you get your technique down. Now you can start adding weight. You're going to get stronger, and you start scaling over onto the field and court.
You look at individual teams, and Lincoln Memorial with no football team, we've got basketball, baseball. Obviously, baseball wants to build up, I imagine, the upper strength for home runs. You've got golf. I'm not real sure. That's probably the misconception for golf, and tennis and some of the others. What is different from each team, but what is the same for each team?
That's the one where same for each team. You're trying to always build up just that base strength. A lot of it has to do with the legs. We squat every team. It's one of those where if the legs aren't strong, it's usually one of the first things that go. Even when it comes to golf, you have to be able to carry your bag around, and all of a sudden hole 16, 17, 18, you start getting tired, you're going to miss on some of the power. Basketball, you see them running up and jumping down. You have to be able to absorb force when you're coming down from landing. Volleyball. So it comes off the base strength. Even bowling, when you're coming through, you have to be able to have that base strength for it. So we come up with leg strength is one that generally everybody needs. And then from there, like you said, depending on the sport, soccer, you don't need as much upper body. So we're going to work more, again, on the legs, to work the flexibility from there. Your upper body sports, your baseballs, lacrosses, volleyballs, you have to train them a little bit different because you know that they could have the overuse injury of always doing the same swing. So you have to make sure you counteract that and make sure you keep them healthy.
You mentioned volleyball. We've seen this season when me and Mike are calling the games, Donahue Gill can jump out of the gymnasium. Now, is that with part of strength and conditioning, or is that on her own abilities coming forward?
It's a combination of both. It's one of those where she's gifted genetically, but also you can add on to it with strength conditioning, put it through a proper program. And I know for me in the volleyball, the biggest thing that I've seen is the smack of the ball coming from the last couple of years. So it's one of those where you see it within the program of how it continues to get better.
Now, obviously, we're getting into the end of fall schedules with volleyball, men's soccer, men's women's soccer, I should say, and some other teams going across country just got done. But we're getting ready to close for basketball season, and that's going to be the main one. Before we talk about that, we've talked volleyball, jumping, basketball, jumping. Cross country is more of a conditioning sport, and I guess that's where the conditioning part of strength and conditioning comes in.
Yeah. It's one of those two where with the muscles, cross country, because they do the same thing over, we have to make sure they fire more efficiently. And sometimes they have either a wing out here, a leg kick, so you have to make sure to keep them. A lot of it is working on the kind of the coordination, core strengthening. Make sure that they're staying upright, because if you don't have a strong back, you're going to lean forward. You're going to cut down some stuff. So it's one of those two where it's a little more conditioning, but still have to have that base strength to help out overall. Basketball
season's coming. It'll be here in just a few weeks. I'm sure you've already worked a lot with the men's and women's basketball teams. Is there any pressure working with the men's basketball team, knowing what they come off last year, or is it just still business as usual?
It's been, it's business as usual. They attack it in here. It's one of those where we get them 4 times a week preseason, a couple times, about 3 times a week up until December, and then cut it down to 2 times. Depends on red shirts. It's one of those two where been here a couple of years, so we've got to take the ones that are redshirting and get them extra lifts to help them out for the next year. It's one of those where then we're just kind of reloading. But they attack it in here. They come in, they get after the workout like I've never seen any other team.
You've been here for a few years now. I'm sure you are starting to see the fruits of your labor, the progress from these teams. That has to be rewarding.
Yeah, it's one of those where you're starting to see all of it paying off of, all right, I just checked, we maxed out softball this morning and seeing girls going up 20, 30 pounds, 40 pounds from when they first came in. Just seeing, us going against teams, men's lacrosse this weekend, we had our fall play day, and seeing just how much bigger, faster, stronger we are than other teams. Even keeping them injury prevention, that's one of the big ones too that, I didn't really know beforehand, but talking with Donnie, kind of keeping them out of the ATR room and keeping them in here, keeping them on the court, playing healthy. Those are all little factors I know that we help, we're a part of.
Talk about your relationship with athletic training. That's something I didn't even think about until you mentioned Donnie a second ago.
Yeah.
You probably have to work very hand in hand with athletic training, because in strength and conditioning, comes the whole keeping healthy.
Yeah, that's one where they're right down the street, right around the corner. So I'm stopping in there 2-3 times a day. I'm talking with not only Donnie, talking with, our relationship with them is great. It's one of those where they're out at practice, so they see stuff that more than we can. Being a D2 school, we only have, there's me and 2 GAs. So we're in the weight room most of the time. That way we can kind of talk to them, hey, how was practice today? What happened? So that way we can now tailor our programs to, okay, they ran a lot yesterday. We're not going to back off on some of the legs a little bit. So we can continue to give the best product. But when it comes to injuries, that's the main one where, hey, the shoulder, okay, we've done this with ATR, we can do this in here and continue to get the athlete back.
You've seen every team that comes across the university. Not putting you on the spot, but is there one in particular that it's easier to work with? Now, I don't know, the numbers sometimes can be an issue because lacrosse has got a lot more players than, say, maybe tennis does. But is there a team that's it's almost easier to work with, or it's more fun to work with than another?
They all have their own little personality. That's the thing when it comes to, that's why I love this job. When you work with so many different teams, you get to see so many different personalities. I mean, there are certain teams that they can come in and just, I could put the workout on the board for volleyball, softball, they're going to look at it. Basketball probably would too. Look at it, do the warm-up, and go right to it. So some of them, they're just a little bit more in tune, but we're getting the other teams to that point. At any point, we got 3 athletes behind us right now that they have a program, they're getting to it, they know exactly what they're doing, and just getting after it.
That has to be good as well, because I know with you and the coaching staffs, student athletes have to worry about their own class schedules. So sometimes they don't get to come in here at all at the right times with the rest of the team. But like you said, we have 2 or 3 in here right now. They've come in, they've just went straight to it. And that makes your job a lot easier.
Oh yeah, that's again building the program up. That is, our job as coaches to teach them so well that they can't just come in. They're going to do it right, keep it safe. So that's one where we have to do that as coaches.
Should mention we got about a minute left to go here. Strength and conditioning is not your only job at LMU. If you've been to an LMU basketball game, you know this voice. He's also public address.
Yep.
Now I assume you kind of talked into that by Scott Erlin, but it's a lot of fun, is it not?
Oh, it's a great time. I've had a blast. It was funny. My little brother joked around about it the year before at Christmas, and also when they asked me last year, I right away texted him and said, hey, they want me to do the PA for basketball, and it has been a good time.
Scoreboard is coming in. We've talked about different things a little bit just in passing. What are you looking forward to this year? As public address, new scoreboard coming in, there's going to be video going on. What are you looking forward to most about basketball season so far? Oh,
it's with that new scoreboard, it's, the sponsorships now are able to get it more up there, but the replays. When you're going up and see, Emmanuel dunk, Chris Perry getting in after it, blocks, I want to see that, getting that replay going.
One of the happiest guys you'll meet in athletics, Steven Linzmeier. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Strength and conditioning coach Steven Linzmeier. Come out to basketball season. You can meet him personally. We'll be right back after this here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
Make K&K Metal Sales your only stop for all your residential and commercial metal building needs. For the past 23 years, K&K Metal Sales has covered the tri-state area with quality custom roofing and siding with many grades, gauges, and colors in stock. If you're looking for complete steel or wood building packages or steel or wood trusses, K&K Metal Sales can help with that, as well as heavy-duty custom carports. Great folks and great prices. Stop by K&K Metal Sales located at 6986 Cumberland Gap Parkway or call 423-869-4261.
Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report, joined alongside by cross-country coach Jeremy Donahue, coach for both the men's and the women's team. They just came back from, I believe it was in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yes.
Where you work for the Southland Conference Championship. Let's start with the women. Take 7th place down at the cross-country championships for the conference. We knew going in it was going to be a tough year for your team. I think they're young a little bit, maybe a little banged up, but 7th place you probably have to be happy with.
Yeah, I mean, we were maybe one spot off of where we wanted to be and what we talked about all season, being where we were at, 6th place, and trying to be at the top of the conference was the goal heading into this season. But like you talked about, we knew it was going to be a tough year, being limited with just 5 or 6 runners for most of the season, and being young at the 4 and 5 spot, having freshmen that we were counting on in that spot. We knew it was going to be tough, But the ladies got better throughout the year, and like I say, the 7th place performance, they went out and did what they could, battled through some injuries over the last couple weeks, so we knew that was going to be a struggle heading in. So 7th, not exactly what we were shooting for, but at the same time, I was pleased with how hard they ran.
How difficult was the course down in Columbia?
You know, I had one pretty good hill on it, but the sand down there is what most of them talked about. Was the footing wasn't hard packed, so that created a challenge for them, and just wears on you over the course of a 5K race.
Now, we talked about it, the team being young, and now the season is almost over. You still got the regionals coming up for the NCAA. But talk about how this season's kind of been, I guess, almost a trial. Because I imagine as a coach, you're almost impatient sometimes with the youth coming forward, but they've showed progress this season.
Yeah, like I said, we've been pleased with how everybody's run. We finally had the Vincent sisters running together. And they've been at the front leading us all season, and then Caroline Craven's coming in and being able to be right there with them for most of the season. You know, I was pleased with those 3 leading us and doing what they could. With Allie being a little banged up all season, she was limited but did a good job leading us most of the year. And like I said, then the freshmen at the 4 and 5 spot, Mary Kate and Eva, they did a great job for us in that spot this year. Pressure right on them from the start. This high-level competition and training at this level, it just kind of wears on you as the season goes. So it's an adjustment, but they hung in there and had some good performances. Both of them PR'd during the course of the season, so been happy with that progress.
You move them forward. You're going to get Whitney Elliott back, who redshirted this year. Looking forward into next year with the women's team, you have to be very happy. Yeah,
I mean, like I said, we get Whitney back next season, so you know, you put her in there, and you know, we jump up a couple spots this season. So we're looking forward to getting her back. We really probably need to go out and get 1 or 2 that could come in and be close to where she's at, or right around at least where our 2 and 3 are at right now once she gets back. But yeah, another year of development. Usually you see a big adjustment from the freshman to sophomore year. So, you know, I'm looking forward to what is ahead for us.
On the men's side, I believe you took 4th in the SAC Championship. I think you were just right on Anderson's heels for 3rd place in that one.
Yeah, not too far off, maybe a little bit further than we wanted to be. 3rd was the goal heading in. We've been 4th, it seems like, for a while now. And so we wanted to take that step. But while I was disappointed in the 4th place finish, it wasn't disappointed in their performance. They ran well. Just Anderson got 3 guys up there pretty high in the pack that made it hard for us to close down that gap on them. But overall, pleased with how these guys ran. George Hernandez with a great performance, and then, like I said, our 2 through 5 guys packed up really tight. We just got to work on getting them a little bit further up in that pack, and we would have got that 3rd place finish.
Hernandez, I'm pretty sure, I believe he finished 2nd team All South Atlantic Conference. Going forward with them now, you've got, for both teams, you've got the regional tournament still to come. Who's going on to regionals?
You know, the women we're talking about right now, who we'll take to the regionals, maybe just look forward to giving them a little break right now and look towards the track season, since we have that coming up. The men, we're going to take, you know, all the men there and see what we can do. We believe we were making up ground late in the race, and it's another 2 kilometers you run at the regional meet, so I think we could get Anderson with another 2 kilometers. And you know, the guys have some big goals over the next couple seasons, so this regional meet is an important one for us to bounce back from a little disappointment. I know they had this past weekend, but they need to stay focused here in 2 weeks and see what we can do at this regional meet. And like I said, George, with his performance, I think he could shoot for an all-region performance.
Now, we talk about different sports and how the teams can be dominant in that. When it comes to seems to be cross-country, the 2 dominant universities or colleges is Mars Hill and Queens. What, in your mind, sets them so far ahead of the rest of the South Atlantic Conference?
You know, Mars Hill just has tradition. They've been doing it year after year, and they have confidence in their program and that they've been there and done it before. You know, they had that setback last season, losing for the first time in 18, 19 years, and they came back with a vengeance this year and really dominated the meet this past weekend. So I think that tradition and just having confidence that in their program is one thing that helps them. And then Queens on the other side, you know, they bring in a lot of older athletes, experienced athletes, you know, transfers or international students that come in with great experience year after year to replace guys they lose. And they're always tough. So for us, I think it's finding somewhere in between that balance of, developing athletes, but then bringing in the high quality athletes too that can contribute right away. And like I said, we're right on the verge of it. Just didn't quite make that breakthrough this past weekend.
I know, talking to different coaches, the impatience there, because you could see the potential for the team, and they just can't get to that spot right now.
Yeah, and I told them that, the last 2 seasons before this one, we've lost key contributors off those previous teams that were supposed to be back. So if these guys could be patient and develop, then I think we can make that jump. It's just we've been having to replace some guys year after year that we expected to be back, and so hopefully that changes this year.
Now, to switch gears a little bit, obviously cross country, as you mentioned, with the regionals is not yet over, but it's getting close to the end of the fall, and then you got to start thinking about cross country, or excuse me, for track and field. What have you seen so far with track and field this fall that is going to give LMU fans hope into the spring? Just with Coach Black being here, there's going to be a lot more attention to what we do in the spring, in the performances of the whole team in the spring. And so, I know our sprint group is looking forward to getting started. Some of the red shirts and Whitney Elliott, Javon Joseph that we've held out, they're ready to get on the track and get racing. And and even for our cross country athletes, once they take a little break, they're going to be excited to change it up and get on a track and run fast. And so I just think that added, Coach Black bringing that added excitement to it, everybody's looking forward to what's ahead for us. Is it difficult on the runners that run both cross country and track and field? Because baseball, softball, some of those sports, they almost have a semester off. Whereas cross country and track, when you run both, you're a 2-sport athlete, and you don't get that much of a break.
Yeah, there isn't much year-round, or there is a lot of year-round training. There's not much of a break for them. So, we have to make sure we manage that well and keep them fresh. But I think, the change of venue, from running on cross-country courses to getting on indoor tracks and then outdoor, the different distances, different disciplines that they're competing in, it keeps it exciting, and they're always wanting to compete and race. So I could say from my time as just a cross-country athlete, I've missed not competing in the spring. So I think they're excited about competing year-round. Track
and field has a lot of different events involved in it. Now, I think we've kind of went slowly a little bit as an institution getting into more of the field stuff. Is there something new we're going to see? And if not, what should we see from the field side?
I think a couple more jumpers this year is what we're looking at. Haven't really added anything outside of that, but I know, the sprints with Coach Black here and taking an added, focus on that side of things. I expect our athletes all around on that side to really take a huge step forward, and they've been looking great this fall. So I'm excited to get on the track and see how they're going to be doing.
We're going to have to talk to Coach Black in a couple upcoming weeks to get an idea of what's going on with track and field, not only from your perspective, but also from his. Going forth into the regional tournament, when is the regional meet for cross country?
We're 2 weeks out from this past Saturday, so first week in November.
What is the preparation from now until that weekend?
We'll get in 1 or 2 good workouts this week, but still mostly it's trying to make sure we stay fresh, but also not slack off so much that we lose what we just built up. So it's a balance there, and for each individual athlete, depending on where they're at, that changes on what they need to be doing. But Tuesday afternoon right now while we're talking, we're getting ready to have a pretty good workout here. 10K race here in a couple weeks, so they got to be ready to run a little extra distance.
All right, sounds good. Congratulations on the South Atlantic Conference Championships, and good luck at the regionals.
All right, thank you.
Head coach Jeremy Donahue of the men's and women's cross country teams. Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this with more Railsplitter Athletic Support.
If you enjoy lakes, boating, mountains, and great food, you'll love Norris Landing Marina in Claiborne County, Tennessee. Located off Lone Mountain Road, Norris Landing Marina has these benefits for you: a 170-slip marina with seasonal rental slips, rental pontoon and pleasure boats, vacation cabins and cottages, a 23-space RV park, and Jimmy's Place Restaurant. Great food and casual dining in an on-the-water setting. Contact us and make the Norris Landing Marina your enjoyment destination.
Juggling my family schedule is a full-time job. Between school, dance practice, work, there's little time left to worry about much else. That's why I use real-time banking from Home Federal Bank. With real-time banking, I know that when I make a deposit, the money goes straight to my account. No delays, no waiting, no wondering. And I get to focus on what's important.
real-time deposits, real-time access, real-time banking. From Home Federal Bank, always within reach.
Who's next?
Me.
Wait.
This week at Food City, get fresh ground chuck, $2.99 a pound. Rare Golden Delicious apples, $2.99 a bag. Kraft mayonnaise, $1.99, and more.
Value every day. Food City.
Established in 1982, Dixie Roofing Incorporated of La Follette has been the industry's leader in commercial roofing throughout Knoxville, Tennessee, and surrounding counties for more than 30 years. From medical facilities to office buildings and educational institutions, Dixie Roofing has the experience, expertise, equipment, and know-how to handle roofing needs of any commercial structure, big or small. Dixie Roofing is also on the web at www.dixieroofing.com. Dixie Roofing Incorporated.
Welcome back into the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Again, I want to thank our guests tonight, Stephen Linzmeier and Jeremy Donahue. Good luck to Coach Donahue going forward into the NCAA Regional Tournament. Let's tell you about some events coming up this weekend and into the next couple of days after that. Women's volleyball, as we said in the Open, they have a big home weekend this weekend. Friday night, they host 10-time defending regular season champion Wingate University inside of the Mary Mars Gymnasium. It's a 7 p.m. first serve. It is Halloween Madness night. For everybody that comes into attendance from inside of the Mary Mars Gymnasium, this will be a battle for first place, essentially. Wingate right now has one more win than LMU, but they are tied in the loss column. The Lady Railsplitters will then return on Saturday to the Mary Mars Gymnasium, where they'll take on Coker College. That'll be a 2 p.m. start. LMU Sports Network will have coverage of both those contests on LMU Community TV, as well as LMURailsplitters.com. Women's soccer, they're at Catawba on Friday night. That's actually at 3 p.m., so it'll be more like Friday afternoon. Again, that will be the final match of the season for the Lady Railsplitters, as they are now mathematically eliminated from the playoff contention. Men's soccer, they're at Catawba. That'll be a 5:30 first kick. This is where it gets fun. As we said, they're tied for fourth. They happen to be tied with Catawba. If LMU wins and Lenore Ryan loses later in the weekend, LMU would be the number 3 seed going into the tournament. If LMU and Lenore Ryan both win, they'll be the 4 seed going into the tournament. Either way, they would host the quarterfinal round on Tuesday. In the event of a tie or a Catawba loss, LMU would fall to the number 5 spot and then would have to travel back to Salisbury on Tuesday for the first round of the South Atlantic Conference Championships. Women's bowling, should mention this, their inaugural match happens this weekend, Friday and Saturday. They are up at the New Jersey Jamboree. So good luck to women's bowling as well as all the other athletic teams around Lincoln Memorial University. For up-to-date stats, information, especially with the tournaments coming up, go to LMURailsplitters.com. They'll have everything there for you. Times, listings, days, teams are playing, everything you need to know, LMURailsplitters.com. That's this week's edition of the Railsplitter Athletic Sport. I'm Adam Haley. We'll see you next week.